Welcome back to Two Dudes Talking Motorcycles. I am Gleb, and you can follow me on social media at Gleb Lapham.
Can confirm that is Gleb. I am Mitch. You can follow me at Meets to the Beach on Instagram.
And you can also follow the podcast on Instagram at TDT. Wow. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram and on YouTube at TDT Motorcycles. And you can also email us your ride stories, questions, comments, concerns, feedback, topic ideas. You can email us at tdtmotorcycles@gmail.com. Today, we're just going to kind of keep it chill and talk about our sort of first quote-unquote ride of the year. It wasn't very like...
I don't... Because we didn't really bring it up the last... did we?
I think we brought up that we're going to try and go ride because the weather was...
Okay, so we hadn't... Our last episode, we hadn't recorded before or after our ride.
No.
Okay.
No.
We hadn't mentioned
we haven't,
it. Yeah.
We haven't mentioned it. But... yeah, it wasn't like a full-on day ride or anything like that. It's just our short little ride that we usually do around this time of the year. It's to this like abandoned gas station.
Yeah.
And
I always forget how long of a ride it actually is.
Yeah,
it really is like, it's like a half-day ride.
Yeah, it's a little further than I remember.
Yeah. But it's so easy.
It's so easy because it's just a bunch of straight lines because none of the twisty roads are open yet.
Usually nobody on that. You know, there's only a few twisty parts.
Yeah, and there's really not that much going on, which is why I'm like, it's a ride, but it's not like anything exciting. Yeah. It's just our little warm-up ride.
It's a known motorcyclist spot.
Yeah, that is true.
Like if you're in Utah and it's the abandoned Sinclair in Alberta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Near Eureka. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a spot. There was a bunch of motorcycles there when we got there.
Tons.
And it's like the spot everyone rides to around this time of the year, just at the start. But we did that, but before, so we're just going to talk about that, kind of go over how it just feels to get back on even on a short little ride after a winter. And Mitch is going to talk about his bike post-maintenance.
The drama.
I'm kidding. But before we go on into our main topic, we're going to go over some Honda bikes because Honda announced a bunch of new motorcycles just a few days ago. And we're not going to cover all of them because it would probably take up most of the episode. And most of them, I mean, not all of them had like giant updates. So we just picked a handful of.
Let's just call it out right now. Like we just don't really talk a lot about Hondas.
Not very often.
We don't talk a lot about Hondas.
But the biggest complaint we had about their press releases is that nowhere do they list horsepower and torque figures.
Yeah.
On like any of the models they announced, we had to like go and Google.
I had to watch a YouTube video to get the horsepower.
And I just don't know why manufacturers, some of them put horsepower and torque figures, others don't. Some don't put weight, others don't. I'm like, I feel like so many of them omit one or two important statistics that people look at when looking at a bike for some reason or other.
Right.
I don't know whether it's like because they don't like compete enough with the competition, so they don't want people to like see that at a glance, or if it's just like not appealing. I don't know, but it's super annoying.
Like, why are you telling me like the diameter of the kickstand? Like, I just want to know what my foot torque is.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And like, I just want to know how much power, like the big things I want to know: power, torque, weight, price.
Yeah.
And that's like the key, fuel tank size. Yeah. And everything else just kind of falls behind that. But I feel like omitting those, it's like, well, okay, you show me every single gear ratio and how far away it's from one another, but how much power has it got?
Right, yeah. It's like,
how much power and when that power kicks in? Yeah. How much torque and when that torque kicks in? So Honda didn't list any of those, but
they'll give you the compression ratio.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's good information to have, but that, for the average rider.
Let's give us all the information.
Yeah. Honestly, like for the average rider, they're not going to look at the compression ratio. They're not going to look at the fork angle or the rake angle, I mean, they want to know what the foot pounds are, what the suspension height is, seat height. Yeah. They want the basics. Yeah. Like an understanding of what the bike is. And I think
the basics just help to compare them at a glance, and then you can deep dive into it, like into the rest of it.
Yeah. So Harley's not going to get any jokes. Honda's going to get
Honda
some.
will today. But so what we got today is we'll start off with what we got here.
A lot of Honda bikes.
We got the CB1000 Hornet SP. So I think we talked about the Hornet back when they first kind of announced it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, because it was relaunched with the or around the same time as the Transalp, our first episode.
Yeah, that's right. And it was kind of like...
Oh, it was the same engine. The Transalp has the same engine as that newer Hornet.
So this is the Hornet, the CB1000
Yeah, so this is the bigger engine.
Yeah, this is the bigger Hornet. They did update the CB750 Hornet as well. They did update them both with, I think, much better looks than the previous ones had, because that's kind of one of the things we were kind of talking about with the last
Honda. They're just kind of asleep at the wheel in their design with their bikes.
Some of their bikes I think look kind of dope, like the Africa Twin. I love how it looks. The Goldwing is kind of like that classy boat look.
And to this day, like I'll maintain, like, the Honda Rebel is like one of the best looking sport cruisers out there.
But some of their other bikes, they just kind of look meh. But I think with especially the Hornet 1000, it does look.
Do you think?
It does look much more aggressive.
It does look
more fun.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. Like the headlight looks better. The seating, like just everything about it looks more.
Except the exhaust.
That's where you're just not going to get that. Yeah,
this has a massive exhaust. If you're watching this on YouTube, this exhaust is absolutely bonkers.
That's every Honda nowadays. That's
every Honda. But at least the rest of the bike does look pretty good, and I do like the styling of it. And they did update the specs, obviously, because But Honda describes it as aggressive and pure. It's got a 5-inch CFT with smartphone connectivity, 4-cylinder, 155 horsepower, 78.9 pound-feet of torque engine, a 4.5-gallon fuel tank, and three-level adjustable quick shifter with both up and down quick shifting.
Nice.
3 rider modes plus 2 user modes: Sport, Standard, Rain, and User 1 and 2. As well as a fully adjustable 41mm Showa suspension up front, Öhlins TTX 36 fully adjustable shock in the back, and Brembo Stylema brakes up front, and Nissan, which is Honda's, I think, in-house brand, single pot brake in the back. 17-inch tires front and back, 465 pound-feet. Wow, I am not speaking well today.
Hold on, Gleb. Hold on.
465-pound curb weight, and starting price of $10,999. $11 grand.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just a few little updates and stuff. I can't quite remember what the last year's model had, but I'm assuming it's probably along the similar lines.
Yeah.
Of what this is. But it's kind of nice to see. I do like the revised. I don't know if it's quite revised, but the styling of it is much better than what it was. Last time I remember looking up the Hornet.
No, it does look a lot more like what the Hornet was back in the day.
Yeah.
You know.
So it looks more fun. It does look. I like the more aggressive look to it, and it looks like it would be a pretty fun bike to ride.
Yeah.
I think.
No, for sure. And and from the last time, or last episode when I talked about that Kawasaki, those 4s.
Oh yeah,
they're so nice, man. Yeah. I actually really enjoyed it.
I'll be curious to try one out and see how it feels. I also do like that it does have fully adjustable suspension. Both front and back are fully adjustable. So I think for anyone like riding this, essentially like a naked sports bike here, and gives them plenty of like room to fine tune it and adjust it to how they want it, to what feels best. And I really like the inclusion of the user riding modes as well.
Yeah.
And I remember when I demoed the Africa Twin before I bought my Tiger, I really like that. I don't know if it applies to all the Honda bikes, but I'm assuming from their higher end ones, it would probably apply. Honda does let you adjust a lot of the parameters for those user modes on how much traction you want, how much wheelie control you want, how much engine braking, like all of those things, which not a lot of bikes do.
Yeah.
Like I think we've talked a few episodes back about how like Ducati, KTM, Husqvarna, and then a couple of Honda bikes are like the only ones that let you really like fine tune different levels.
Get into the weeds.
Yeah.
On your bike.
Different levels of like those rider assists, which not all bikes do. So it's kind of appreciative to see that, especially on a bike that's not like crazy expensive.
Yeah.
$11,000.
Yeah. And I mean, and again, and that's a 1000. That's a 999 cc, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. That's a fast bike.
Yeah. So it is a pretty fast bike.
Yeah. It's a big boy.
It is a big boy.
Yeah.
And then next we do have the CB750 Hornet, so the little Hornet, and it does have a 755cc parallel twin with 82 horsepower and 55 pound-feet of torque.
Okay.
It also gets a 5-inch TFT with smartphone connectivity and dual projector LEDs. And I think that was the same case for the Hornet, the 1000 as well.
What I like about that from Honda, and I will say what's nice with that is like you got this really new, nice, expensive bike. This is the Hornet SP, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you like the Hornet. Maybe that's too much bike for you.
Yeah, you got a smaller
you got a
option.
750, but it looks the same, right? Like
it looks
or similar.
It looks very similar.
Yeah.
I think the 1000 does look a little bit more on the aggressive side.
Yeah.
It's got like a more dual headlight type
kind of look
to it, while this one's got more of a mono.
Oh, that's what
headlight.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the gold trimming on the SP. Yeah. No, I see
the gold
it,
trim does look good.
It looks related at least. Like,
it does look related. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think the 1000 looks much better.
Yeah, I agree.
Than the 750, but it's still nice to have the option
for the price jump. It better.
That's true. Yeah, and this is you're paying like $3,000 less.
Right. Yeah.
For the 750, and you still get you still get a quick shifter. You still get 3 riding modes, including M+1 user mode. So sport, standard, rain, user, and user mode is adjustable. You can adjust and save different parameters.
Ooh.
You get 41 millimeter Showa shocks up front, or Showa forks up front. They are not adjustable, however, like they are on the 1000. And the ProLink 7-stage preload adjustable shock in the back. Both the front and rear brakes are Nissan on the 750. Yeah. So there's some cost savings here involved, and in addition to the small engine, but you're saving $3,000 and probably still getting a bike that's gonna be a hell of a lot of fun to ride.
Well, I'm looking at this and so as you said, the price on this bike is $8,000. Yeah, starting at $8,000, right?
And it's also 422 pounds, so it's about 43 pounds lighter than the 1000.
Well, and I'm looking at these specs, my bike, it's a 1200, right? That power output though, mine's 89 horsepower. This one's 82 with a 55 foot-pound. I can't remember my foot-pound on mine.
It's probably way more than that.
Well, yeah. I mean, but but I'm just saying, you're getting that's still a pretty fast bike.
Oh yeah.
You're getting that's a good package.
It's a good quick boy, and it seems like the tech is good. So overall, not a bad.
I think with these bikes, Honda is showing that they know how to design a good-looking bike and a good package and everything. It's just so.
I still don't think they're the prettiest bikes.
No, but they're
prettier than they used to be.
These ones fit in.
They do, yeah. And then the next one, this one I actually do like how it looks. It's the NT1100 DCT. So it is their kind of sports touring bike, and they had it available for Europe for a few years now, and they're bringing it to the States now. So it uses a parallel twin engine, the same one that's used, or it's derived from the Africa Twin engine. So it's similar to what you'll find in the Africa Twin.
Probably pretty peppy then.
Yeah, so it is pretty peppy. It does have 102 horsepower, 77 pound-feet of torque. It is a heavy boy coming in at 574 pounds.
Well,
but I'm sure the DCT kind of adds to that. But for a touring bike, that's not necessarily bad. It's going to be on the pavement the entire time, hopefully.
Right.
It should be on the pavement the entire time. Well, that way, it's also going to help it keep more planted, especially if you're riding crosswinds and things like that.
I just think it's funny that we're talking about the weight of a sports tour, and it's just we can go over and look at at Goldwing owners, and they're like, baby's first slip disc.
Yeah. But it is a full-on touring bike. So the seat is optimized for comfort, and it has enough space for 2-up riding. It has an adjustable windscreen. You can adjust it. I think it's set up to 7 or 6.5 inches from the lowest to the highest point.
Yeah.
Depending on your condition, what conditions you're riding in. 32.3-inch seat height, 6.5-inch TFT with Bluetooth connectivity, and 3 choices of screen display. And Gleb's favorite part, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on the TFT.
Good.
Just like on the Africa Twin, which
on these bikes, it makes sense.
Oh, it makes sense on a lot of bikes.
Yeah.
But I actually really like the looks of this. It kind of gives me...
It's a nice looking bike.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Tiger Sports.
A little bit,
the Tiger Sport 850 and the 650.
I was gonna say it looks like the Super Tenere or the Tracer almost.
A little bit, yeah.
It resembles those.
A very sports touring look.
Yeah.
But it does. I mean, you can see it's a very heavy fared bike.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's going to be pretty good to ride it in any condition. Don't get as much wind in your face.
Did they mention what brakes are on it?
It just said.
If you pull up that picture you had, because it's I'm wondering, because that's a heavy bike, so I want on it.
I think they're just Nissans.
Are they Nissans?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it is dual discs up front.
Yeah,
single disc in the back.
That's probably fine.
Yeah. But I do have it listed here somewhere later on. But anyways, so yeah, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto makes me very happy to see. It does have like that old school Casio watch, little like additional LED screen or LCD screen below the main TFT, which is the same thing that Africa Twin does. So when you're using Apple CarPlay, it still will show you like your speed and your gear position and stuff.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel I watch, Moto Jitsu. Have you seen his stuff?
Used to a while back. I haven't watched it in a while though.
He's a very knowledgeable motorcycle instructor. But he went and did a video. He test rode the Africa Twin in DCT. Him personally, he's a crazy rider. He doesn't like it. He doesn't get. He says his words. I don't understand DCT, right? But he talked about that too, like with like that weird Casio watch looking thing below like this nice screen. He's like, let's take that out. I think it's something like with like compliance or laws.
I would think so, but I think like at this point they could just make the actual TFT a little bit bigger. Yeah. And when you are using like Apple CarPlay, just
have a bit of it down
display
below.
It and then move the essential information like below.
Yeah.
Like the main, I don't know.
The tech
maybe
is
the tech is definitely there because my car does it, but like maybe it was just cheaper and simpler to do it this way because they already had that same setup on the Africa Twin for the past like 4 years. Yeah. So they're like, oh, just going to take it from the Africa Twin, put it on NT1100 and call it a day.
Fair enough.
Like I said, 1084 cc parallel twin, 102 horsepower, 77 pound-feet of torque. So it's still going to be a pretty peppy bike, even though it is a heavy boy. But for a touring bike, the weight is not going to be like as noticeable, even unless you're moving at slower speeds. And the standout feature on this is that dual clutch transmission. So Honda has been putting in like dual clutch transmissions in their bikes for quite a while now. And most of the time they have basically two options. You either get the non-DCT bike or you get the DCT bike and kind of pick which one you want. Yeah. This one, I didn't see anything for it that's saying like in the non-DCT model. So I think this one might only be available as a DCT. However, I'm not 100% sure on that. There was nothing about it saying it was optional in their press release. So that's as far as I know.
Oh, this is a new model to the US, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they had one last year or not, but I'm pretty sure. At least the DCT is definitely new to the US.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the transmission, it does include 3 drive modes, basically. So drive is basically your basic automatic, kind of like you would in the car. It's got ATS, which is the sport mode, which is basically still automatic, but it lets the engine rev a little bit higher, so you get a little bit more power out of it. And then the manual mode, which lets the user or the rider shift the gears themselves by its handlebar controls. Yeah. And we've talked about dual clutch on here before, just auto transmissions on bikes in general. I know most riders are kind of like apprehensive about them. Yeah. But I do think they
don't like it.
Yeah. I do think it's nice to have kind of like the option because there are some people that, might want to be riding a motorcycle, but maybe, shifting gears might not like work for them or operating the clutch might be a little too hard or just different disabilities or things like that that might prevent them from fully experiencing it. So it's nice to have the option to kind of, make it a little bit more accessible. Yeah. And I think I've definitely referred to this story on the podcast before, but when I was shopping for a new bike, my sales guy over at the Honda dealership, he said he had like motorcycle like fall or accident and stuff at one point, and it like damaged his nerves in his arm, so he doesn't have like full control of his wrist, or he can't like close it and open it very easily.
Oh, okay.
So he bought himself a DCT Africa Twin, so he was still able to ride, but now he had a much easier time shifting gears, or he just hits it and drive and goes. Still able to enjoy motorcycling despite not being able to operate a clutch very well, and I think that's great. I think that's really awesome because it still gives you the option to ride.
Yeah, it's exactly for people like that. Like, there's even if you don't see the benefit to it, there's going to be people who it's going to help keep them on a bike. I mean, I've thought about it, like with my knee. I'm 35, and the condition that my knee is in now, I'm going to be a rider in my 60s and 70s. I might need DCT eventually. Like, I don't know.
And we have seen like automatic transmissions start popping up more and more from other manufacturers. Like BMW recently had their E-Shift, whatever assist, automatic shift system. I think Kawasaki had a few. Yeah. There's different systems, and all of them kind of do it in a different way. Honda, I feel like, is one of the few that does it like hand controls. While BMW, like they still have the foot lever, so you just flick it up and down. Yeah. Or they have like a manual transmission, but it has like an auto clutch type thing, almost like a quick shifter, but the clutch is, I don't know, it's weird. Yeah. But the clutch is still there. But it's an auto manual, something like that. Yeah. Anyways, it's nice to have the option.
No, for sure. Yeah.
In addition to the dual clutch transmission modes, it does have 3 riding modes plus 2 user modes, kind of like the
Hornet SP.
Yeah. The SB1000, the CB1000 Hornet.
Yeah.
And those modes are Urban, Rain, Tour, User 1 and 2. So it still lets you adjust different parameters and stuff. It does have a 43 millimeter Showa suspension with adjustable preload up front, and also Showa shock in the back. That's also preload adjustable. I was kind of surprised not to see any information like on whether the suspension is like fully adjustable. I didn't see it listed on Honda's website, so I'm not sure if it actually is, which for a touring bike has kind of surprised me that it's not even like manually adjustable. Yeah. It might be, but Honda didn't have it listed on their press release. Gotcha. So
who knows?
I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not going to say it is fully adjustable.
What we've learned looking up Honda specs is like, just because it's not on the spec sheet doesn't mean
that's true. Yeah.
The bike has a horsepower rating. We just couldn't find some of them.
17-inch wheels up front and back, dual 4-piston calipers up front, and a single one in the back. And it weighs, like I said, at 574 pounds. And price is at $11,899. So it's a fairly like decent package for the price. Yeah. But I do think it would be better. I think it would be nice to see like fully adjustable suspension on that. Yeah. Considering, I mean, the CB1000, the big Hornet, did have fully adjustable suspension, but this one does not for some reason. At least Honda didn't list it as
we just
feature,
don't
so
we just don't know.
I'm not sure. But I do like the looks of it, and I think it's it's a touring bike. It's a sport tour, and there's plenty of people that do like sport touring bikes because they want to go touring, but they necessarily want like something that looks like an adventure bike. Yeah, it's bigger, bulkier, more aggressive looking, and that's kind of how Honda described this bike in their press release too. It's basically like same touring capability as an adventure bike, but minus the looks, right, and minus the off-road capability.
Yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate that too with all these bikes that we've. Well, I'll go over that actually after I go over my stuff. So. Yeah. I mean, but this bike though, what 11.8, 11.9 out the door, or not out the door, starting
price. Yeah.
Man, it's like. We love our Triumphs. We have our reasons to love our Triumphs and all the other bikes that we like, right? Yeah. But I do kind of miss the Honda prices a little bit.
I bet the maintenance on them was.
Oh, dude, I know it's the easiest thing in the world. Yeah. So I don't know.
But this does make me want to go and try out more of like the sport touring bikes and stuff. I did get to try out the S1000 XR, I think, the BMW one last year, and that thing was fun.
That
thing was a blast to ride.
Yeah, but that thing's going to be more than a Honda, and like,
it was like $3 or $4 grand more than this.
This episode, I can tell, has just been like, I'm looking at prices, I'm like, huh.
There's a reason people buy Hondas.
It's like Hondas are
Japanese bikes. Yeah,
you're getting a good package. It's just I have expensive, posh tastes, I guess. But no. And up next on the list, though, we have our CBR1000RR. This one, again, I don't know much about I don't know much about Honda sport bikes really.
But this is their
like their high
fully
boy.
fared.
Yeah, this is the
boy.
sport bike fast boy that you can get. The CBR1000RR comes with a new electronic package for ride modes and aids. I couldn't find the information on Honda's website. That's from
This one was like, I remember like in their press release, it was kind of weird because it's a 2026 model year, but it's like kind of very limited info on what they showed on it.
But what I do have some information on it. I was able to find it is a 999cc liquid cooled engine, 4-cylinder. We love it. Inline four with a peak power reach. It doesn't tell me what the power was, but it reaches its peak at 13,000 RPM.
It's pretty high revving boy, which is pretty dope.
Very high revving, and even better is the 215 horsepower. That spec and like the rider aid package stuff I had to find that from a YouTube channel called Cars and Bikes Update. That is not from Honda's website itself.
Gotcha.
So take that with a grain of salt. I don't know that YouTube channel. So, but yeah, it's just a really
434 pounds. So
yeah,
that's a lot of power for not a lot of weight.
Yeah, 400. Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. And you could shave a lot of that weight off, like hacking off that barge of an exhaust.
Yeah.
So and this one, I'm only listing the ABS price because you should just get ABS. ABS is starting at $17,300. And screw it, the non-ABS was, I think, 17 grand.
I'm surprised they have a non-ABS model on the bike this caliber.
I was looking at that on their website going through. I'm like, well, do they have to make non-ABS bikes for some reason?
I don't think so.
Like, does some
That's
country,
so weird. Yeah.
Does some country not have ABS?
These are that was a US website, so
yeah,
it wouldn't be applied to.
How much money are you wasting on your models?
That is so weird to me.
I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Anywho. I don't know much about sport bikes. That is very fast though.
Yeah,
that's a lot of power for very little weight. And I apologize, I don't have more information on it. The other two bikes I have on here though is the CRF300s, and that is for the L and the L Rally. These bikes, so both of them, they're getting their just the updates to suspension and headlights. So one of the biggest criticisms I always heard about these bikes is they have pretty soft suspension for dual sport. So if you're adding weight or if you're a heavier rider, you can bottom this bike out pretty quickly. If you're especially if you're jumping it or taking any more advanced terrain. Yeah, or spongy.
Yeah, and from this new one, they did upgrade the suspension.
Yep,
they upgraded a lot of the suspension components.
So what they
kind of stiffen it up a little bit.
What they did was so up front on the forks, they updated the dampening, so it can hopefully be better.
Yeah.
For that, and then they also updated the rear suspension from I don't know how rear suspension's really built in technical terms, but they described that the initial movement on rear suspension, to reduce that, they changed it from a rubber bushing to a bearing, claiming smoother rear suspension on takeoff. So, or just smoother rear suspension, I guess.
Yeah.
So we had LED lights, new radiator and cooling system as well. This one is starting the 300L starts at $57.50.
Yeah.
And then the 300 Rally is it's this exact same updates, just has a larger gas tank, the 3.4 gallon.
And it's got more fairings.
Yeah, it's more adventurous, I guess.
Yeah.
So the more fairings. And they're claiming a 250 mile range in testing. So 3.5 gallons.
Yeah. That's not a bad range for.
No.
I mean, it is a little single.
It's a 300. Yeah. It's a single cylinder 4-stroke. So.
Yeah. Single cylinder engine. And I think these bikes weigh less than 400 pounds even.
Yeah. I forgot. They didn't list I don't think they listed the weight. I couldn't find it.
I can check real quick.
Yeah, I got it right here too as well. And I have looked at these. We've talked about it would be so nice to just get a dual sport that we could go beat up and trash around.
That would be, that's true.
And we've looked at these, and they look nice. It was really that suspension thing, and but yeah, I mean, that's not a bad price for a dual sport, even new. I don't think.
I don't have it pulled up. I thought I did.
Oh, I got it right here. Yeah, we're looking at the weight for you. Yeah, boy. No, it's just hard. It's too hard to get through, man. So Gleb's gonna still look, but yeah, those are some Honda updates.
And right? The CRF, the 300 the Rally is kind of like that's the bike that Itchy Boots like rode from.
Oh, that's right.
Colombia all the way up to Alaska after she kind of
Alaska, her bike though she named it.
Yeah, it was named Alaska, and that was the one she kind of rode. Picked her journey back up after the pandemic kind of started opening up and stuff, and rode through the U.S. So it is a pretty reliable bike, and I did find the weight. So the non-Rally is 311 pounds with its 2.1 gallon fuel tank. So little baby. So
just a regular
bike.
CRF 300L is.
Let me find the. So the CRF 300L is 311 pounds, and then the Rally is 335 pounds. Nothing. So still very lightweight bikes, and I can see why these would be like. I would love to get maybe not the Rally, but just
even
just the regular the L as like a single track thrash around.
Just try it out,
baby
practice.
Dual sport.
Yeah, practice your off-road bike. Yep. Yeah,
I think that'd be a lot of fun to just ride around like some of the mountain trails here and just get a lot of off-road like practice on because it's so light.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just got to putt around on a little
pretty much
single cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all the Honda updates we have.
We wanted to talk about. So.
Yeah. I feel like this is the biggest Honda update we've had in a while because they kind of just dropped all these models all at once, basically.
Have we talked about another Honda bike since the Transalp?
Yeah, we've talked about the Hornet, Africa Twin, a couple of times.
Oh, yeah,
we have.
Okay. Oh, we talked. I had a Rebel. We talked about that.
Yeah. So. But I don't think we've done like this many all in one episode.
No.
And like I said, it's because they decided to announce them all in one day, and it just happened to be a couple of days ago. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, so
Hondas are super reliable too, and like
they're very. I mean, pretty much any of the Japanese bikes are super reliable.
But like Honda is like they got like they have their name. Like, you see a Honda logo, it's like that thing's running forever.
They're gonna be running forever. The other nice thing about Hondas is dealership availability. Like they're everywhere.
Everywhere.
Whether like they're everywhere in the U.S. They're everywhere in pretty much any country. Mm-hmm. You're gonna find some kind of Honda dealership with Honda parts available.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. They're everywhere. So whatever country you're in, you're probably safe buying a Honda because you're going to be able to find parts anywhere, parts for cheap.
Yeah.
And they're very reliable and easy to fix bikes, which makes them really good for especially like beginner riders.
Mm-hmm.
So don't rule out Honda. Sometimes they do feel a little boring, maybe a little clinical.
Well, I think that's our personal take on it.
Definitely.
With the riders that we hang out with too.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Is like I found like I loved my little Rebel, my Honda, right?
Yeah, I loved my CB500.
Yeah, it was a reliable bike.
Yeah.
It just didn't have like what we look for as riders that other people won't. Maybe is like that. We look for that character, right?
Yeah,
we're bougie like that,
and I think like it's one of those things that you kind of start to pick up on the more you ride or the different bikes you ride.
Well, just figure out what you like.
Yeah, but like as a beginner, you kind of just don't have any basis to like base anything off of. So any bike really seems like a cool bike.
Yeah.
So
you just figure out what you like, as you go, and that's what turns out we like Triumphs, unfortunately. So,
yes.
Well, for the wallets, I actually really like.
I really do like my bike.
I really like my bike a lot. But yeah, don't rule them out.
Don't rule them out.
No.
But so should we talk about our little ride for the rest of the episode?
Yep.
So like we said at the beginning, we rode out to a Sinclair, like an old timey Sinclair gas station, and
across the street from another abandoned gas station.
Yeah, across the street from a much newer abandoned gas station down in Alberta, Utah, which is down in Utah County. It's just maybe like an hour and a half from Salt Lake,
something like that. Yeah.
An hour from Salt Lake, so not even too far of a ride. It was like a warm 60-degree March weekend.
Yeah.
So
it only got cold when we were near the lake.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I got a little bit chilly. It was still like a little bit of wind chill coming through.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a nice dry day for a ride, stretch your legs. Did you feel like you were rusty on anything?
Yes, but it's weird. I felt like from that first ride, and since I've been riding, now it's warming up, I'm going faster. I don't know if that's that's not me like being a daredevil.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, so go putt around for a ride. And I'm not trying to push it, but then I'll be riding. I'll look down like, oh shit. And then I'm just shifting in gears really quick through it. I'm just like, what am I doing? I'm not trying.
I did kind of notice that you were hauling ass like pretty good on that.
Yeah. Well, that's
ride.
On that ride too. And then I saw you like getting smaller and smaller, and I'm like, oh.
I was like, where he's hauling off. Should I catch up, or should I just keep my cruise control on and keep going?
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So. I mean, it is fun.
Yeah. I mean, so it's fun. Like I guess that gives me confidence.
That's good.
But at the same time, like, I should probably watch it.
And you were also on brand new tires.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Which, and if you're a rider, like, like brand new fresh tires, they always recommend taking it easy for the first, 100 miles or so.
We were probably 100 miles in.
I mean, on the way back. Maybe not
there. Details. Here I am preaching about being a safe rider. Yeah. And I'm just, but no, so it's stuff like that. And of course, slow speed. I can't pull a slow turn to save my life right now.
I feel like I'm still pretty good at those.
And when I'm saying slow, I'm like a parking lot. Like I got to do a little UE to get into a parking spot. I can't do those,
Luckily, I don't think I lost that bit.
Yeah.
It took me a minute. I was like, oh yeah, I can lean this a lot further, and I just have to counter lean.
Yeah,
myself.
Exactly. That's what I'm working on. I just got to get back to it.
How did the new tires feel?
Amazing. It's amazing.
And you got
I got yours. I got the Dunlop Trail Max missions.
Yep.
Love them already.
Yeah, they're very good tires. I do love mine, and they last for a really long time.
That's why I got them. They are very expensive. They are. It was like $500 for the set.
Yeah,
that's
pricey
a lot.
tires.
They're very pricey, but
they last good. And
10,000 miles ish.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, more than that. It was like 12.
Oh yeah.
Almost 12,000 miles on my tires, and
so
they still had life left in them.
Yeah,
I just got new ones because we're going on the long trip, and I was like, I want fresh tires for the trip. I do love mine. I think they're great tires, so I'm glad you're liking them as well.
I want to try them off road with as much as I can do physically. So I haven't tried them that way, but on the road, like what an improvement from the last tires.
That's good to hear.
Oh man, I'll just say it. Just if you're on an adventure bike looking for like some they're like what 60/40s, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
60% road, 40 off.
Yeah.
If you're looking for any of those kind of tires, the Michelin Anarchy Adventures, that's what I had. They're terrible. Terrible. You've heard me complain about it. Not just off road, but like just even on the road, I just didn't have any road feel. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's why I was always going a little slower with you guys, because I don't know how far I can lean this bike. It's not telling me. It was just sketchy. It was like doing it blind.
Yeah.
But with these ones, I'm getting leans in better, and I'm just like, this bike is.
You can feel it.
Yeah, I was like, I know where the bike is at.
That's good.
So
I didn't feel like I was too rusty on anything in particular. I do notice I feel like I need to be better at keeping my line when going through turns and stuff.
Yeah, I need that too.
Cross the middle a lot. I'm like, just keep it to one side.
Yeah,
pick a line, pick one side, because I do remember when I had my slip on that oil spill back in California. Luckily I didn't fall, but I'm like, that was not good, and that was because I crossed the middle of the line.
Yeah,
and it lost traction there. But I need to just keep better without crossing it too much, and just kind of I feel like get better at churning just in general a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But it was also the first long ride we did of the year, so definitely took a little bit of time to kind of get used to it again.
Yeah. But yeah, with what I'm rusty at and everything, what I want to focus on the next time that I can go out and ride is I want to do some more parking lot practice. I want to get back to that.
I definitely want to do some as well. Kind of, we should just buy a set of cones.
Huh?
little set of
I know we
like
should.
those little like orange cones that they use
Soccer
at the
cones,
MSF.
Yeah.
And just set them up in the parking lot and do some drills. I think that'd be
Let's do it.
kind of good. Yeah. Okay.
So
we'll do that. I think that'd be kind of fun to kind of, especially for those low speed maneuvers. I think it'd be nice.
My I just want to get to a parking lot and practice because I'm doing honestly anyone could really ride a bike at a speed.
Yeah,
but it's the slow speed stuff.
Slow speeds, I feel like, is where you're very likely to drop it, especially if you're more of a beginner rider and stuff. Because I feel like, especially if the heavier the bike
and taller
the bike, once you start to feel it leaning over, it keeps wanting to go. You really got to
you don't have the physics keeping it upright. Yeah,
you really got to like fight it to get it back up. You
just gotta shift your weight,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's that's what I gotta work
on.
But
luckily, like you're not likely to hurt yourself on like a slow speed drop.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times you have enough time to kind of step away from the bike and just let it fall. It might hurt the bike a little bit depending on the bike. But, at least you won't injure yourself.
Right.
So don't follow either high or low speeds, but I'll definitely take a low speed parking lot fall than a high speed crash.
Yeah.
That would not be ideal.
Ideally don't fall, but you're probably going to. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I do agree. Like low speeds, I think it's always good to practice those. And I think it's just good to practice at the beginning of the year, kind of just like your emergency braking, like swerving, just all the little basic drills that they run you through at the NSF.
Yeah.
It's good to kind of refamiliarize yourself with the bike.
No, it's good. I have been doing that, like not really like a full on emergency braking practice, but I was on last time I was out riding by myself, empty road. It was a back road, and I gunned it a bit, and then I did a little pretend emergency braking.
Yeah.
And then just kept going. But but it's just good to see, like, you're going like 50, 40, whatever miles an hour, and you go through your emergency braking, pull it through, and it's just good I think it's good practice to see the bike slowing down as quickly as it is. Yeah. And also engaging that ABS.
Yeah. Because then you're not like startled by when it does happen. Because it's kind of a weird pulsing.
It feels like it's gonna it wants to like shake you off. Yeah, but you're not going to.
Yeah, so. As long as you keep the handlebars straight.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you swerve.
Yeah. Well, you don't panic.
Yeah, I can't think of really of any other things that I felt like I need to like be better on. It was more of just like I did get a little saddle sore. I did notice like some.
Yeah, I'm not in riding shape.
Yep, I did notice some like. Pain in my upper back because I feel like I'm just like tensing my shoulders up and stuff, holding the handlebars. Yeah, and that's just a thing I do when I sit for a long time. Whether it's like on the bike behind the computer playing and stuff, like
you just
all my tension goes up like my upper back.
Same.
And then like
mine's more in my neck, I guess, like back here. Yeah.
Yep, that's where mine is too. It kind of shoots up, and then my like thighs and butt we're getting like. Not tired, but I'm just like, I'm definitely like not used to sitting on a bike for an extended period of time right now.
Yeah, I'm not in riding shape. No, yeah, definitely ass sore a little bit. And then like my knee, my legs were sore. And my hands were like, I don't know what you'd call it. Like I got home and I took my gloves off after a day of riding, and they were like, not rashy. I could just tell they'd been in something all day. And
I didn't feel that, but I did feel like, especially on my clutch hand, kind of, since I do the two fingers a lot, like I did notice these fingers where it was like I can kind of feel them a little bit. Yeah, like just a little out of practice. Because it's not usually like a motion you do if you're not riding.
We gotta knock off the cobwebs and
and just start riding. We're just waiting for the weather to kind of get more consistent.
But now's a good time, we can get back in shape for riding. Like we can stretch, so we can do some more of those exercises, so we don't have to be sore and miserable.
You also got your 20,000 mile maintenance on your bike. Does it feel any different after that on the road?
Well, yes, but no. If that makes sense.
Other than the tires, does the engine feel any different because you have to get the valves adjusted?
Yeah, it's. I don't know. Like the bike was always responsive. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like now that I have it back after an adjustment, it feels adjusted.
Justin, did it feel more responsive or more
like
smooth or anything like that?
Yes, but like not in a way that like the bike was lacking it before. Okay, it just feels tighter.
Gotcha.
Like the bike just feels more together, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a good adjustment.
Makes sense.
It was a God, it's fucking expensive. But
they're not cheap.
No, $20K. You're for a Triumph Bonneville engine, $20K service is not cheap.
Yeah, I don't think most bikes the valve check is cheap just because it's so involved, especially if you do have to get them adjusted. Then it's even more like hours, labor hours, and then some additional like parts that you need to like adjust them. So it's a whole involved process, but I didn't want to do it myself because I don't have the know-how nor the tools to do it.
No.
And it would have taken me forever to do.
Yeah.
I'd rather just pay someone else to do my first one.
There's so much stuff I want to get for my bike, right? Like I'd like to get into new exhaust and guards, right? So it's paying for maintenance is not something that you really want to do at the first of a riding season.
Yeah. But you kind of have to.
It's my happy thing. This makes me.
But now at least you got your oil change out of the way, so you don't have to worry about that for the rest of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. No oil changes for me. Yeah. So
I still got to do mine. I'm just waiting for the weather.
Unless I ride a lot.
That's true. Yeah. But you have 10,000 mile intervals, so you're good.
I mean, I've had this bike for 5 years now. Over 5 years now. In 5 years.
No, you haven't had for 5.
No, 4. 2021 is when I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 4.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. But anyway, in that time, I probably put like 16,000 of those miles on myself.
It's pretty good.
We did a lot of riding.
Yeah. Mine's at 15,000 miles right now.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do any maintenance for a while. I do have to do my annual just oil change. But I'm just going to do that myself because it's super simple on my bike. And then just regular maintenance, like clean the chain up a little bit. And then I might do the brakes on it later this year and have the dealership do the brakes.
That's what,
And I think that's about it.
That's right. That reminded me in terms of, start of riding season or first ride is I was informed that my brake lines, or at least the front brake, has sediment in the line.
Did they explain how that?
No, I forgot to ask. I need to go back and ask. If somebody does know, if you want to leave a comment explaining how that happens, because we thought they're supposed to be airtight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they're supposed to be like nothing comes in or out,
unless maybe it was mud water from when I got it stuck in mud at the beach.
I doubt it because it shouldn't get on the lines.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it got in there.
Somehow, I'm sure Emerson will reply to this.
Yeah, so
to this episode and tell us why.
Yeah, so I
our
need
mechanically
to do
inclined friend.
Yeah, so I need to do a brake flush. I don't know how easy that is. I've done them on cars and just never again.
Yeah, I find them on cars like pretty simple to do, but like
they're just time consuming.
It's time consuming, but on the bike, I don't know. I feel like.
No, there's three brakes. There's 3 calipers. So,
but I feel like on a bike, like my big thing is why I think I wanted the dealership to do it versus myself is even though I've done it for a car, it's brakes. They're very important for safety, and I don't want to personally mess it up.
Yep.
So I think I'd rather have the brakes be done by
professionals,
knowledgeable professional versus trying to do it myself. Even though I'm sure, like, if I had like a second bike, if I had like another bike that's maybe like a cheaper, older bike, I would totally try and do like valve clearance checks on that, brake flush, and like a lot of those maintenance things just to kind of get a feel and learn how it works and how it does it.
Yeah.
If I had a second bike that I could ride or that I could do that on while I still have my main bike is, available to ride all the time.
Yeah.
But as my only bike, I'm like, I think I want the dealership to do the brakes on this one. That's what
just I'm thinking.
Just out of caution.
That's what I was saying. Is like I don't know how involved that is really. Like I've done them on cars. I just don't really want to do one. And I was thinking that I was about to say that too. But then the other thing that I can probably do myself is just a coolant flush.
Yeah, that one I feel like is
distilled water,
a little better. Yeah, so. I'm sure there's plenty of tutorials online that show you how to do it.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be too hard or time consuming. So
you never know. That's what we say about a lot of things.
Oh, you're right.
And then you start doing it, and you're like, "This
should be the easiest thing in the world."
Yep. Now it's taking me 3 to 4 hours to do.
Yep. Center stands.
Yep. It was that spring. Everything was fine until the spring.
There's 3 screws to my center stand, and it took 4 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
to put on that
stupid spring.
So, 4 hours and like 5 different tools
and 2 road trips.
And 2 road trips to cycle gear
to get the right tool and the right tool broke.
The right tool broke, but it still worked, but in a different way. It was so silly.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
So silly.
Yeah. So,
but anyways, I think that's all I have to share about our first ride.
Yeah, I think so.
And it sounds like we might have a guest on.
I was about to say, like, we usually don't like tease or promote our next episodes, but if you stick around or you come around for our next episode, we're going to be interviewing one of my friends who just took their first MSF.
And I think that'd be really cool to see because it's been a while since we took ours. It'd be nice to get a perspective from someone. Just basically getting into it fresh.
Just a regular person off the street. She just passed everything,
It's exciting. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah. And then she's gonna take her DMV test soon and
perfect
the written test and so
awesome.
We have a new riding friend, Gleb.
Yay!
Now we won't be the only two people at a social gathering in the corner talking about motorcycles. Now someone else will join.
Well, but I think that's all
we got. Yeah, we'll see you guys.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yep.